Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Happy to have each and every person in here. I'm going to cut this volume down so that you all can hear me speak. Appreciate you being patient. There we go. All right. So, appreciate you being patient. Hope everyone can hear me. Let me make sure. Let me do my mic checks real quick. All right. So I know that I'm in there like swimwear. So once again, this is Coach Steele's Finance Training. And of course, welcome on this morning. Happy to have everybody in the building on this morning. Everybody, wherever you are, whether you're at home, like I usually talk to you about, whether you're getting ready to fix your morning breakfast, whether you're getting ready to clean up the house, whatever it is, it's Saturday morning, you're laying in bed, you're relaxing, you're chilling. Well, welcome to Coach Steele's Finance Training. I am Coach Steele, the financial voice of the people, and I'm happy to have you here with another session of Coach Steele's Finance Training. How can you continue to tune in and listen? Well, you can continue to listen in on Facebook, or you can tap into the YouTube channel at Coach Steele Finance Training, Coach Steele Finance Training on YouTube. I'm sorry, Coach Steele Finance on YouTube. And if you tap into that, of course, you're going to find a library of videos, a library of financial literacy and education and information there as well. So definitely welcome. If you're cleaning up, if you're hanging out, just leave me on, cut the volume up, and let's talk some money. Let's talk some financial literacy and see where it goes. And today we have a very, very fun topic, something that I enjoy talking about and also love talking to other people about, and that's entrepreneurship. And so on today, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, do you have an entrepreneur's mentality? What does that mean to have an entrepreneur's mentality? And so we're going to go down a list of things that entrepreneurs may deal with. We're going to go down a list of things that entrepreneurs may face. And that's going to help determine today for you if you have an entrepreneur's mentality. And so I'm excited to have everybody on. Good morning, Vanessa. Definitely enjoyed fellowshipping with you, Vanessa, last weekend in Illinois, spending time breaking bread, talking with you. We had an amazing conversation. So appreciate you tuning in. Today, we're talking about an entrepreneur's mentality. Where's your mindset when it comes to entrepreneurship? Is it something that you're intimidated about? Is it something that you were thinking about doing? Or are you smack dab in the middle of it and trying to decide which way to go? And so as we touch on about 10 to 15 different points this morning, it's going to help you decide and determine, do you have the mindset of an entrepreneur? So I definitely look forward to having this conversation. So make sure you tune in, make sure you comment, jump in the chat section. Let's have a great dialogue and conversation this morning like we always do. So also, if you're listening in, if you can, make sure you share, make sure you tag someone else in here that you do know may have some questions or concerns about entrepreneurship. Or let's say you know an entrepreneur and they're kind of hanging on the fence. They're kind of right smack dab in the middle and they're not sure what direction they should go in. Make sure you share this with them. Tell them, hey, Coach Steele's Finance Training is on. You need to tap in. You need to listen in. We're talking about entrepreneurship this morning. So let's spread the word. Let's spread the conversation. If you're tapped in, if you're tuning in, send a little message. Tell me good morning so I'll know who I'm talking to. And so I'll talk directly to you. I don't mind answering questions that I do know the answers to, and I don't mind finding the answers if I don't have them. So we're going to have an amazing conversation this morning about entrepreneurship. So good morning to each and every person. If you're tuned in, give me a thumbs up or give me a good morning or something like that so I can see who I'm talking to. All right. So Oh, we got Pastor Christy Conyers, the great Bishop Christy Conyers is in the building on this morning, y'all. So anyway, as we go in and talk about an entrepreneur's mentality, I got a list of notes. As you see, my setup look a little different, y'all, so I'm getting a little fancy. And so is it okay if I get a little fancy? Is it all right if I just, do a little setup? Of course, y'all know I'm talking about entrepreneurship. And of course, I'm not the greatest designer in the world. And so eventually, as I continue to make progress, you're going to see the setup change and got other things coming up. I'm excited. I can't wait to do some of my interviews, y'all. The interviews are going to be off the chain. Interviews are going to be phenomenal because I have some amazing guests and some amazing entrepreneurs coming up. And so it's going to be people from my local community and who knows abroad as well. So as we talk about entrepreneurship, of course, you see I have all my sisters' amazing candles over here in the background as well. And they smell so good. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. If you're an entrepreneur, tap in. You can write what your business is. Feel free to jump in the chat, jump in the comment section and tell what business you do. Hey, I don't mind. It's free advertisement. So anyway, the first thing I want to deal with as an entrepreneur, and if you have an entrepreneur's mentality, the first thing I want to deal with, the first thing I want to talk about is, do you know how to motivate yourself? This is important. As an entrepreneur, do you know how to motivate yourself? Are you self-motivated? What does that mean, self-motivated? Well, you got a great idea, or you got a great product, or you provide a great service, but are you self-motivated to push yourself to the point to either go find customers, to finish making your product, to finish making your website? Are you self-motivated to do the things to push your business, your entrepreneurship? Are you self-motivated to push it to the next level? Are you self-motivated? Does it take someone? Does someone have to twist your arm? Does someone have to give you a good pep speech, a good pep talk? And of course, this is Coach Skills Finance Training. Of course, we are huddled up as a team today. Do you have to huddle up every single time with your team members and someone has to nudge you and push you and drive you to do what you want to do? Or are you so set on your goals? Are you so determined to accomplish your goals that it doesn't take much? That it doesn't take much to push you? Yes. Does it? Can you get yourself motivated to take action? Christy Conyers says it takes laser focus. It takes laser focus. That is one of the things. To have an entrepreneur's mentality, it does take laser focus. Thank you for tuning in. Assyria Daniels, that's my dog. Assyria Daniels, I appreciate you tuning in. Assyria Daniels, do you have an entrepreneur's mentality? Do you have what it takes to be motivated, to get yourself to where you want to be as an entrepreneur? And so that's what we're talking about today. And the first thing is, are you self-motivated? Are you motivated to do those things on your list to get you to where you need to be? And so we have to evaluate. You have to check your motivation levels. Are you motivated at 10, which is the highest grade? Or are you motivated at like a 1 or a 2? So everybody who's tuning in, what is your motivation level of your entrepreneurship mentality? Are you at a 7? Are you at an 8? Are you so thirsty and hungry that you're at like a 10? You're a 10 plus. Anybody who's motivated and it's at an extreme level, you can go ahead and put a 10 plus in the chat. You can put a 10 plus in the comment section if you're at a 10. If you're at a 7, put a 7. If you're just thinking about entrepreneurship and you're not quite sure, put a 1 or a 2. Put a 1 or a 2. So where are you at on a scale of 1 to 10 on your desire to be an entrepreneur? Or if you're in the middle of that journey. Now, there's some people that are already entrepreneurs, but smack dab in the middle of having their own business or doing what it is that they do, they might already be an entrepreneur, but they feel like a 5. Because there's certain things as being an entrepreneur that'll make you feel like a 5, that'll make you say, I don't know how much longer I want to keep doing this. So, where are you at on a scale of 1 to 10? Next, let's see what we have here. 1, are you self-motivated? 2, here's an interesting part. This one's good. Are you intimidated by competition? Does competition scare you? And so we're talking about having an entrepreneur's mentality. And as an entrepreneur or diving into that space, are you intimidated or does competition scare you? Are you afraid of competition? Are you afraid of the marketplace? Are you worried if someone else provides the same service for you as you? Or are you worried if someone else has the same exact product that you provide? This is important. Why is that important? Why is it important to know whether or not you're afraid of competition or intimidated by someone else who does the same thing as you? It's important for a number of reasons, because when you're an entrepreneur and you get out there into that marketplace, when you get out there, there's going to be tons of other people that do what you do. There's going to be tons of other people that provide what you provide. But you have to be confident. You have to be confident that what you provide is unique. What service that you're going to provide is different from the others. So, for example, my sister has these beautiful candles, and of course, there's, I don't know how many hundreds of other people in companies and entrepreneurs that make beautiful candles like this. Well, I can't say exactly like this, but they make candles like her, right? But if I were to have her sitting here and I say, what makes your candle stand out from other people? She would go into a whole 10-minute conversation to explain to me why her candles are different from other people. I don't know all the details and the science behind it, but her candles have something that make them more user-friendly as far as burning them and what's in the atmosphere. And now, Pastor Kanye is going to use a word that I've struggled with before. And she said, y'all can read it for yourself. She said, just find your niche. Just find your niche. Now, some people may pronounce it all kind of ways, or you may spell it in a way that works best for you. But just find your niche. Find your thing. And that's key when it comes to entrepreneurship and finding your niche. Oh, people laughing early in the morning. So find your niche. That's it if I'm speaking in my other cultural languages, because I know multiple languages. What does it mean to find your niche? Find your thing that you're good at. And you can also find a niche in the marketplace. You can find a need, you can find a hole, you can find a gap that is beneficial for your environment, for the marketplace, a place of need, and you create a service or a product that helps people, and you find your niche. Or you find what you're good at. You find what you're skilled at, what naturally comes good or easy for you to be able to do. You can start there. So don't be afraid of competition. Know that your fingerprint, oh, I like that. I just made that up. Know that your fingerprint in the marketplace is unique. Know that your fingerprint in the marketplace is unique. There's only one of you. There's only one that can do it like you. And you have to understand who your audience is. Don't be afraid of competition. Be confident about who your audience is. Who is your audience? Who came to buy your product? Who came to see you? Johnson & Johnson may have a completely different audience from you. Johnson & Johnson may have an audience or customer base that are willing to spend, I don't know, $10,000 per product. Your audience may be willing to spend $500 per product, or vice versa. Whatever it is, know your audience. Don't be intimidated, and don't get distracted by what someone else is doing in the marketplace. Continue to drive and hit home. There's, I think, over 8 billion people in the world. So how many do you need to make your business successful? Because now we're in a time where we have social media platforms, we have the internet, so you can reach your niche. You can reach the people you need to reach out of the over 8 billion people that are on earth. How many do you need to financially be successful? Take your time, don't be intimidated by competition, and reach the people that you need to reach, because your fingerprint is unique in the marketplace. That's good right there. I'm gonna take a pause. Okay, what else do we have next? Interesting. The what ifs of entrepreneurship. And before I deal with the what ifs, if you're tuning in, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, jump on in. We're happy to have you in the room this morning. This is Coach Steele's Finance Training. I am the financial voice of the people. And of course, we're going to talk about financial literacy. I'm live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time zone. And of course, if you jump to my YouTube channel and subscribe, you'll see that I'm live there on YouTube and on Facebook. But if you subscribe to YouTube, you get a bunch of free content about financial literacy. There's a library, a catalog of content, information, and videos, and a community there that you can enjoy. All right, so the next thing is what ifs. The what ifs. So when you deal with what ifs in your entrepreneurship journey, in your entrepreneurial journey, are you dealing with, well, what if this happens? What if someone doesn't buy the product? What if I front all of this money and I do this and I do that and it doesn't work out? Are those mindsets after the what ifs, are they pessimistic or are they optimistic? Where does your mindset go? Does it go worst case scenario every time? Does it go, I'm going to follow my face? If this doesn't work out, maybe I shouldn't take this risk, because if I take this risk, I might embarrass myself. People won't look at me the same. They'll talk about me. They'll laugh at me. Is it pessimistic or is your mentality optimistic? Does your mindset go optimistic when it comes to those what ifs? Well, what if it does go right? What if I am able to sell the product? What if I do write that book and 1 million people buy my book out of the 8+ billion people in the world? I don't know if there's 8+ billion. I think it's over 8+ billion. It's almost like 9 billion people in the world. So out of those people, what if only 100? What if 500? What if 1,000? What if 1 million people? Are your what ifs pessimistic or are they more so optimistic? And you can see the brighter side. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you have an entrepreneur's mentality, then you're going to be more optimistic than you are pessimistic. And matter of fact, when you think about entrepreneurial mindset and different strategies and things you have to do, you're going to have people who are on one side that are going to tell you all the pessimistic things. If you fail, if you don't do this right, if you make a mistake, if the what ifs, but can you stay positive? Can you think of all the good things that will go right if you take that chance, if you take that journey? Is it always going to be perfect? No, it's going to have ebbs and flows, ups and downs. But as an entrepreneur, you have to be confident that you're going to have more ups than you are downs. So that's the next thing, the what ifs. What is the mentality when you deal with the what ifs of your entrepreneurial journey? Okay. And so as we continue to deal with an entrepreneur's mentality, we've dealt with, are you self-motivated? Are you intimidated by competition? How you handle the what ifs? Oh, this is a good one. I like the next one. The next one is, does everything have to be perfect? As an entrepreneur, does everything have to be perfect? Does everything have to be perfect for you to go live? Does everything have to be perfect before you can sell the product? Does everything have to be perfect before you can write the book? Does everything have to be perfect before you make a move? Does everything have to be perfect before you go get the LLC if you need it? Does everything have to be perfect before you go collaborate with someone else? Are you intimidated, or do you put everything on a hold because everything's not lined up perfectly? Because all the ducks aren't in a row? Are you afraid to speak up and tell people about your business or what you're trying to do because you think it's not at the right point yet? A lot of people who deal with things being at an extreme perfection level sometimes, not all the time, sometimes don't make the best entrepreneur because they can get in their own way. Now, I will say this: they may make the best product and they probably provide the best service, but as far as entrepreneurs, sometimes they may not make the best entrepreneur. And so it's a little more difficult for them to start off and get going and get the train down the tracks because they're worried about every little thing. I'll give an example. I could have made sure, like, for example, this curtain looks like it's a little jumbled over there on that side. I could have straightened it out, organized it a little bit better, but I didn't want to be extremely late worrying about the layout and not be able to go live. I would rather go live and talk about financial literacy than to waste time trying to make sure everything is perfect in the background. The content is more important to me. And so that's something I can fix later. When you're worried about perfection, realize some things you can fix later. So Pastor Kanya said, I had to conquer perfectionism. She's trying to use another big word on me. See? Strike two. Strike two, strike two, strike two. She had to conquer perfectionism. See, anyway. So listen, when it comes to entrepreneurship and you're trying to have an entrepreneur's mentality, understand it's okay to move forward. Good morning to everybody that's tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, tell me good morning. I want to see who I'm talking to. I want to see who I'm chatting with on this morning. So we dealt with, are you self-motivated? Are you intimidated by competition? How you deal with the what ifs? Are you pessimistic or are you more so optimistic? Does everything have to be perfect? And we've dealt with that as well. Think about the Wright brothers. No one had ever flew a plane, and for whatever reason, they thought they were just going to fly in the air like birds. They just decided to go take a leap of faith. And how many times did they fail? How many times did that thing go up and come down? And they probably hurt themselves, bumped themselves. See, perfectionism, you don't have to be perfect to have success. Let me say it again. You don't have to be perfect to be successful. You just have to have a willing mindset and know that eventually I'm going to get there and I'm going to continue to press and push forward to get there as an entrepreneur. Now, next, how do you handle stress? That is the next thing. When we're trying to decide, do we have an entrepreneurial mentality? Do we have an entrepreneur's mentality? And so, are you an entrepreneur? Do we have any entrepreneurs tuning in right now? Do you have an entrepreneur's mentality on today? And if you are an entrepreneur, what type of business do you have? What type of services do you provide? Feel free to throw them down, put them in the chat. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, put it in the comment section. But the next question is, how do you handle stress? How do you handle pressure? How do you handle the risk and also the anxiety? How do you handle that? Pastor Kanye said, it has kept me from progressing in times past. Yes. And so same with me. There's things I'm like overthinking instead of overworking. We have to quit overthinking and go ahead and start overworking, because while we're thinking, we could have been working. While we're thinking, we could have been jotting something down. And so, good morning, Nicole Tazwell. Happy to have you here. I'll behave this morning, Nicole. Unless you get out of the line, then I'm just going to do what I do. But anyway, happy to have you tuning in. Nicole Taswell, have you ever thought about entrepreneurship? Have you ever been an entrepreneur? Is it something that you want to do? Are you doing? Anybody tuning in, feel free to drop in the comment section what you do as an entrepreneur, what your business is, what services you provide, what products do you have. And so, anyway, how do you handle stress? This is important. This one is so important because as an entrepreneur, speaking from experience, you have to know how to be cool, calm, and collective. Triple C's, cool, calm, and collective. Because will stress come? Yes. As an entrepreneur, stress can come. Will difficult times happen? It's possible. Maybe, maybe not. Difficulties may come. As an entrepreneur, there's so many different variables that may happen. Now, of course, it also depends on the type of business you have as well. Some people, you may be doing hair. And let's say you're doing hair from the house. It may not be as much overhead. But let's say there's an entrepreneur and they do hair, but they have a salon. They have a place where there's overhead. They have to pay the rent for the building or the mortgage if they own it. They may have to pay the light bill, the water bill. What if you have a place or a building? Okay, daycare. Okay, all right, I got some feedback. Oh my goodness, let's see. It says, see highly favored lemon. Good morning, daycare. I can't even imagine. As an entrepreneur, being able to run a daycare or, whew, see, I'm talking about stress. Just the thought of my business being a daycare, I'm out. I'm out completely. Count me out. So you have to know like your strengths and your weaknesses as an entrepreneur or even as an investor. Like if I had to attack entrepreneurship from the point of view of the fact that I run a daycare, that's like my business, that's what I do. Whew. Maybe if I had to come from a point of view of dealing with a daycare as an entrepreneur, I could be an investor, a silent investor, maybe in whatever capacity to help grow that business. But as far as being hands-on with it, I want no parts because I know that's not my niche. Like Pastor Conyers mentioned earlier, some people are good in that environment. They're good with children. They just have a natural skill, talent when it comes to doing that. Can I work with youth? Can I work with children? All that? Yes, I can. But do I want to do it? No, I don't want to. But for some people, it comes natural to them. I know a lady named Sonia McCoy. Sonia McCoy is naturally gifted with kids. She loves it. It's a passion. She will run to it. I will run the other way. So everyone has their own thing that they do, their niche. And so having a daycare as an entrepreneur, I know that's a lot because you have to make sure that kids are okay. There's a lot of risk involved and you have a lot of responsibility. It's interesting because it's possible for those children to spend more time at the daycare than they do with their own parents, depending on the time that parents have to be at work when they drop the kids off. By the time they get back home, enough to eat, sleep, potentially do some homework and get back up and everybody's back on their own way. So as someone who manages or takes care of a daycare, you have a responsibility because you're really raising other people's children. So anyway, I definitely appreciate you tuning in. And so let's see. Nicole said, I would love to become an entrepreneur. Well, Nicole, what is your niche? What is it? You know, there's so many different things you could easily do to dive into entrepreneurship, Nicole, just naturally. But, you know, you have to find that thing that you enjoy doing, the thing that you like doing, because you have so many skills. And so I think you would do very well. I know you would do well because you're not going to do something if you're not going to make money. So you would always find something that brings in some cash flow as well. So anyway, as we deal with the important part of entrepreneurship, we were talking about anxiety and stress, the risk, handling the pressure that comes with entrepreneurship. And Yvette on YouTube said you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. That is so important. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. And if your weakness is being able to handle stress, being able to handle those risks and the anxiety that comes with it, you may have to get help. If you're a great entrepreneur, but the thing that's holding you up is how you handle the anxiety and the stress from it, then go get help on how to handle that anxiety. How do I stay cool, calm, and collective in the middle of overhead, things not going as well, products not getting sold as fast? When I use the example of someone who has a business as far as a hairstylist, or they have different chairs that they rent out to different workers in their building, what happens when the hairstylists quit or they don't show up? And so business isn't flowing in there, but you still have to pay the rent or you still have to pay the mortgage on that building, and you're calling people, hey, where you at? Hey, we got people here who need to get their hair done. We have people here that need to do this, that, and the other. So you have to be able to handle how to manage with people, how to deal with people. There's so much stress and anxiety that can come with it that if you lose it, then you'll lose your business. If you lose it, you'll lose that opportunity of having that business that you have because you can't maintain yourself. Patricia Ford, oh yes, I know you're in the daycare field. Well, good morning, Patricia Ford. Daycare is definitely hard work, but you have to understand the risk and know the child and parents. Yes, it is definitely hard work. Patricia Ford is another one that I don't know for how long has been in the daycare field, in the daycare business, and managing, surviving, and thriving and doing well in it. But it is definitely hard work. And a lot of times as an entrepreneur, if you're willing to do the work, then it's definitely worth the risk. As long as you're willing to do the work, it's definitely worth the risk. You know what? Y'all been commenting all in here and they've been showing up. Let me show y'all some love. Let me see if I do this right. Y'all look at that. I'm just clapping for myself because I put Patricia Ford comment up there for everybody to be able to see. I wasn't really paying attention, but I noticed I could do it. But anyway, learn something new every day. Look at that. I'm going to go back and put everybody's comment up while I'm still talking in advance. And so I'm going to go back a little bit. So what I was telling you all, anxiety is no joke because, you know, when it comes to anxiety and stress, if it's misplaced, if it's displaced, it can tear you down. Your mental health, we're talking about the mentality of an entrepreneur, but your mental health is important. You have to be able to think and process consistently, nonstop, because as an entrepreneur, depending on what business you're in, activity is still going on even while you're asleep. Your website or wherever people go to get information, content, whatever it is, movement is still happening even when you're not there, even when you're not paying attention, depending on what business you're on. What if, you know, the website goes down? What if IT problems happen? You never know what may happen while you're in the middle of doing work, and you cannot lose it. And so one thing that you can do to help yourself when it comes to entrepreneurship and dealing with anxiety, put measures in place. Put things in place so that it gives you a buffer. Will it always fix everything? No, it won't always fix everything. But it will help put buffers in place to decrease the chances of you having to deal with as many stressful situations and situations that can just get completely blown out of proportion. And so, for example, I'll do a personal example. This month, August 1st, I had 2 tenants move out of 2 of my properties. What does that mean? Does anybody know what that means? At the end of July, I had 2 tenants move out of my property. 2 properties, 2 houses that I rent out. Does anybody know what that means for me? Type in the chat. If I had 2 tenants move out at the end of July, what does that mean for me in August? What does that mean for me in August? My goodness. I got to pay the mortgage. All right. This is me being silly, y'all. I'll see if I can give Patricia Ford a round of applause. But I have to pay the mortgage. I have to pay the mortgage. I don't like the way Yvette put no rent. I don't like. Nicole said, you lose money. You have to pick up those mortgages now. Y'all are right. You all are 100% correct. I have to pay the mortgage. I have no rent money to collect on the 1st through the 5th of August, which means at that point in time, I'm losing money as I'm paying these mortgages. And usually a mortgage payment is due before the 15th. Anybody see what the date is right now? It is August 10th. And what I'm doing right now is collecting donations from anybody who's willing to give. Anybody that's willing to support the no rent ministry right now, I'm definitely collecting donations, and we're gonna pass the plate around. So yeah, it means no rent. So in this moment, that situation can be extremely stressful, because what do? You know, how much are those mortgage payments? Not on 1 property, but on 2 properties. So we're talking about hundreds of dollars, potentially thousands of dollars. So when we talk about entrepreneurship and being able to buffer yourself, give yourself some cushion, what are 1 or 2 things that I can do to help my situation when things like this happen? Are tenants going to move out? Yes, they are. Are tenants going to move out? Of course, we know that they do, because, let's see what happened here. Yvette, I don't know. I think she's worried. You got a roof over your head still. Calm down. Calm down. We're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. So anyway, part of the reason why I had 2 tenants moved out, I've always encouraged one of my tenants to go buy a house, because I believe she was skilled enough and confident enough and had everything she needed to go buy her house and be a homeowner. And I encouraged her to do that. And eventually she got to the point to where she did. Why? Well, one reason, the rent went up. And I had to increase the rent, even though I didn't want to. And I love that tenant. The rent went up. And of course, her mother lived in another one of my properties. So when daughter bought a house, mom moved with daughter, bam, 2 properties empty. I'm happy for them, because now the daughter is a homeowner, and it puts her in a better position of authority from now on in her future. But so now I have to adjust, I have to get some more tenants. So anyway, not that big of a problem. I do have property management in place. So how do I mitigate? I don't even know if that's a word. How do I mitigate risk? How do I balance things out so I'm not as pressured or frustrated? Well, one, I have property management. So property management is going to help me find some more beautiful, qualified tenants that will be good for my business. That'll be good for my properties. They'll vet them. They'll take care of it. They'll make sure that the property is fixed up and ready for the next tenant. So I'm not as stressed because I've hired experts. I've put people in place in position to handle some of that for me. Also, did I save properly? That's another thing I can do in that example, in that situation. Every time I collected rent, did I just go spend it? Or did I put funds to the side for a rainy day? So of course, one thing I did was I didn't spend the rent money when I got it. I kept it in the account. I kept it in the business account so that when tough times come like this, I will still be able to manage and maintain. This month, I may not be profitable, may not make any money, but that's fine. As long as I can maintain the properties that continue to grow in value, then I'm still making a profit. It's a silent profit. I call it the silent profit. And so I still make a gain on the back end in different ways that you can't see. I may not see it in the cash flow, but I have access to the equity that allows me to make another play. So anyway, if I have to front that, it's because I saved profits from previous profits. This is interesting. And so I use that to pay the rent now, so I don't stress. I don't put myself in a position where I have anxiety and risk and worried, and then I have to take funds from my household to try to cover down on the business, which is nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do what you got to do to keep the business afloat. So don't be afraid to do what you have to do to keep your business afloat. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We have a few more points that we have to get through, just a few more points to get through as we talk about, do you have an entrepreneur's mentality? Is your mind set up to be an entrepreneur? And if you are an entrepreneur, you need to go through all the 12 to 15 of these points that we went over this morning to get your mind in the right place as an entrepreneur, if you're already there or if you're thinking about getting there. If you are an entrepreneur and you're tuned in, let me know what your business is. Let me know what product or services that you have. Who knows? You may end up coming and being as a guest here, and we discuss what it is. That way you can share your information and content and what you do as an entrepreneur. This is Coach Steele's Finance Training, and welcome on YouTube and Facebook Live. Go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can get that library and catalog of information with other YouTube videos about financial literacy. So we dealt with handling stress and anxiety, and I gave a personal example of things I did to mitigate the stress and pressure as a real estate investor in my properties. I have property management to help me. I don't spend all the profits. And most importantly, I do trust God, and I continue to count on God to give me direction and wisdom on how to handle difficult situations. So those are just some of the things you can do, and also get help. If you struggle with anxiety, get guidance, go get a counselor, a professional that can help you on how to handle those things. But put buffers and things in place. Next, know your role. Know what you're good at and know your strengths and weaknesses. Someone else already mentioned this, but know what it is that you do in the grand scheme of things. So if you know your role, you can still make money. If you know what you're good at, you can still have success. You know, we've looked at great teammates like Kobe Bryant and Shaq. Kobe knew what he did. Shaq knew what he did. Derek Fisher knew his role as a point guard and being able to knock down threes and playing strong defense. Guess what? Everyone had a different role. Some people got more light than others, but everybody who knew their role, guess what? They still got paid. If you know your role and you know your niche, you can still get paid. So know what you're good at. Don't try to be somebody else's role. Be your role and continue to have success. Also, as an entrepreneur, are you comfortable with everything falling on you? Are you comfortable knowing that everything is riding on you? Can you handle the pressure of the fact that you have to be the one to do the majority? If you're not there, if you don't have your hand to the plow, if you're not engaged, then all of this will fall apart. Are you comfortable? Do you embrace that? Or is it something you shy away from? Do you soak that in and you say, you know what? Now is my time. In that moment, when you realize that everything falls on you, visualize with me right now. Just picture this. Imagine you're at the top of the mountain, the wind is blowing, and you're in your most majestic stance, knowing that if I don't take action, this whole thing can fall apart. It's all on my shoulders. You know, one thing, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and some would argue LeBron James, they want the ball in their hands at the last minute. They want to be able to make the play. Can you see yourself as Tom Brady, 2 minutes left and you're down by 6? Can you see yourself driving your team down the field to be able to win the game? And your mindset is, I don't want to kick a field goal. I want a touchdown. I want the win. I don't want to go into overtime. I'm willing to do what it takes. Put the ball in my hands, coach. Are you Patrick Mahomes in those moments to where you want to be able to make the final decision and the final say-so? The ball has to be in your hands to decide whether or not you have success. Are you comfortable with everything falling on you? And so a lot of people who played sports in high school or competed in different things in high school, whether it is debate or whether it was mock trial or whether you played sports, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, tennis, track, wrestling. Some sports are like team oriented and some sports are like individual oriented. Team still wins and your points count towards the greater thing for the team. But some sports are individual sports in a sense, while you still have a team. So if anybody played sports, good morning, Carl Hunter. If anybody played sports, type in the chat what sport you played. If you ever played sports in high school, cross country, track, if there's a sport that you like to play in your pastime or as a hobby, whether it's chess, tennis, cheerleading, whatever it is, write in the chat what sport you played. Write in the chat what sport you played. I want to see the sports that you all played because that's going to help me determine some things with your mentality and what you're used to handling and what you prefer to handle. Sometimes the sports you played or the positions you played in sport may dictate a mentality or how you handle certain situations. Are you comfortable with everything falling on you? What sports did we play out there? If you're on YouTube, write in the YouTube chat, the live chat, what sport you played. Yvette, please do not type in track. You can sit out on this group exercise. Please do not, because I'm going to lose focus of this lesson. Don't do it, please. That's a warning. That is definitely a warning. All right. So tell me what sport you played in high school or in college, or maybe you played in middle school as well. I mean, we'll go with rec department if you can remember what you did in the rec department as well. But in high school, college, middle school, did you participate in any sports? And we're talking about the mentality of an entrepreneur. Do you have an entrepreneur's mentality? Jesus. If you're on Facebook, you don't have to deal with this, but on YouTube, Yvette typed in track and field. Y'all give me give me just 20 seconds to deal with this, and then I'm going to continue on. If you played any sports in high school, make sure you type it in the group chat or in the comment section on Facebook. But someone that I know who not only wrote track, but they wrote and field. And I'm 100% confident that they did nothing in the field. So they shouldn't have wrote track already as it is. But they definitely shouldn't have wrote field, because they definitely weren't in the field. They didn't do long jump. They didn't do high jump. They didn't do shot put. They didn't do discus. They didn't do the triple jump. And they definitely didn't do the pole vault. So you can tell I ran track in high school. And shout out to all my, oh man, the Olympics is amazing. Do you see what those Olympians that are representing America are doing right now? We saw the women on the 4x1. Woo, my goodness. Winning gold. A lot of other, Noah, he won a gold. And there's too many to name. But there's a lot of great Olympians out there. Shout out to everyone, and especially the ones that are representing America in track and field right now. So anybody else played any sports? Where my Facebook people tuning in? What sports did you play on? Everyone tuning in. So anyway, shout out to all the Olympic runners and the success that they're having out there. But Yvette didn't do anything in the field. And as far as track, there's no evidence of it. And I think she barely did it. So she can't count it. She probably did half a season, something like that. But I think she ran twice. And so if you didn't run more than once, you can't count it in there. So disregard that if you're on YouTube. Anyway, so when we talk about can you handle everything? Are you used to being on your shoulders? Some of the sports I played in high school were more so like individual sports. Like one year I did wrestling. And so when you're doing wrestling, you know, handling everything, when you're doing wrestling, guess what? And you're on that mat with somebody else and they're trying to physically harm you in that moment, and it's legal. Guess what? There's no one else out there to help you. Like with basketball, you know, if your big man is guarding another center, another big, and he got a bag, he got a package, and he's got all these different stuff he can do, footwork, whatever you name it, and he can put the ball in the hoop, you can get your point guard to dig in, drop down, kind of deter the ball from going there, or kind of get the ball out of there. You have some help. But whenever I did wrestling in high school, that one year, my senior year, I did wrestling. Why? I don't know. I just wanted to do it. And I'm sure I could figure out why I did it. But anyway, when I did it, and for the record, I did go to state. I did wrestling 1 year in high school. It made it to state. I was a natural. So whenever I was in that wrestling match and the ref had us start, and I had to look that other person in the eye, knowing that they were going to try to harm me, I did not have any help. You have a coach screaming and telling you what to do, but you still physically have to be able to manhandle that other individual and prevent them from being able to move, to be able to put them on their back confidently so that they could be pinned. And so that's an individual sport. And with that individual sport, the mentality was, it's all on me. It's me or nothing at all. And so as an entrepreneur and having that mentality, that is beneficial when you know that you can have confidence in yourself, that you have to wrestle that situation. You have to be able to control that situation and pin it to the point to where you win and you have ultimate control. That helps you as an entrepreneur, being confident that if I have to rely on me, if my back is against the wall, I'm going to produce. I'm going to come through. And I'm not going to be intimidated, but I feel confident and comfortable knowing that I won't let myself down, knowing that I won't let my employees down, knowing that I won't let other people down, my clients down that need my business, that need my service that I provide. I'm going to come through in the clutch. Of course, I ran track as well, ran cross country. They're team sports, but there's a lot of individual things behind that as well. And being able to be confident to control the situation. So that's the next thing. You have to be comfortable with everything falling on you. Next, willing to give up time. As an entrepreneur running a business, you have to be willing to give up your time. We had a few people who jumped in here that talked about the daycare situation. What happens if a parent is late? What happens if people don't pick up their children on time? Oh my goodness. So you got to balance that out, right? So people don't pick up their kids on time and you run a daycare. Well, you have to balance it out. You have to value your time, but at the same time, you can't leave kids by themselves. So as an entrepreneur with a daycare, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to stay late and I'm going to make sure that I take care of the kids, even though the parents are late. Hopefully, one, there's some communication there and there's some parameters put in place to help buffer this from either not happening again, but if it does happen, Patricia Ford or highly favored Lemon, if it does happen again, then I'm going to be compensated. As an entrepreneur, don't be afraid or intimidated to be compensated. Good morning, Marcus Scott. Good morning to you. Appreciate you tuning in. We're talking about having an entrepreneur's mentality. And so do you have things in position that if you do have to lose time, if you have to be flexible, are there parameters in place where you have to be flexible? Marcus Scott is saying good morning. And so I think about how many times Marcus Scott and I have probably been in a gym. And of course, we're waiting on parents to pick up their children. I'm talking about a daycare, but kind of just directing over here for a minute. And, AAU basketball and coaching and all that stuff, you're waiting on parents to pick up their kids from the gym, but there's not any overtime compensation in AAU when parents are taking forever. Or you come back from an AAU tournament and all you want to do is go home, lay down, and rest after dealing with 12 to 15 kids plus all weekend, and then the parents are late to the pickup spot. And so it's hard to get any compensation when you're basically volunteering to the community. But when you're an entrepreneur and you have a daycare, there should be things in place. You should have some stuff in place that says, for every 5 minutes, for every 10 minutes you're late, this is how much you'll have to pay for that. If you do not have parameters in place as an entrepreneur, guess what? People are going to take advantage of opportunities, of your over-kindness, and all that other good stuff. People will take advantage of the situation. So you have to put parameters in place that when people want to make decisions that aren't favorable for your business, that you are compensated properly. Now, can that work for every business? Probably not. Probably not. I'll give an example. And I just used this example earlier. When tenants move out of a property, I have 2 tenants moving out. When they move out of the property, when they moved out at the end of July, there's no extra compensation for me. There's no benefit. So I have to make adjustments and I have to find some more tenants to move in. So anyway, as an entrepreneur, you're going to deal with different things. If you have products, sometimes people want refunds. If you have a service, sometimes people are going to want refunds. Put parameters in place. Put contract agreements in place. One thing that Marcus Scott would do when it came to AAU basketball, any parent, any child, when you sign up with the program, you better read the fine print because it always said no refunds. So you have to know, hey, this is the commitment that I'm making. I'm investing in this situation. Put parameters, put contracts in place. When I rent out a property, there's an extensive contract with details so that the tenant has to sign with property management, and that because I'm doing business and I hired property management and they work for me, there's a contract that I have with them as well. So you have to put things in place to protect you and to also benefit you as well, to benefit your business. So it is going to cost time. So at times there's going to be last minute things that come up. There were times where when I did manage my properties, plumbing issues. All of a sudden the AC is out. What are you going to do? Are you going to let the plumbing continue? and then all of a sudden the tenant is sitting in a pool of water, well, guess what? The tenant can leave the house and go get a hotel. Your asset, your property is going to be damaged. So last minute, you have to move quickly. You got to move ASAP to try to protect your asset and also do what's best for the tenant and put them in a safe environment. If the AC goes out, and of course I live in Georgia, AC goes out and I got a tenant and it's in the middle of the summertime and it's burning hot. Guess what? I got to move quickly. I need to get an AC guy out there ASAP. And so as an entrepreneur, it's good to have experts, people who are certified in certain fields and positions that can be there on hand in a moment's notice. And see, one thing for me is I've always used the same plumbers and the same AC guys for years. They know if something happens to one of my properties, they're going to be the first person that I call. And so because of that, they stop what they're doing and actively move quick. Anytime I need help, they'll say, Simon, where's the address? What's going on? I'll get over there today. And they do that for a number of reasons. One, I have a level of loyalty with them and they know I'm not going anywhere. I refuse to use anyone else. They have been trusted, they have been consistent, and they do that too because if you do right by me, I'm going to pay you your worth. And depending on what sacrifice and adjustment that you make on my behalf, I'm always leaving a tip on the check. And so you got to know how to do business as a good entrepreneur. I wish I could stay right there for a little while. You have to know how to do good business as an entrepreneur. If I have an expert or somebody help me and they stop what they're doing last minute to see about me, to see about my clients, to make sure I'm good, that looks good on me. You have to understand the trickle down effect that happens there. My tenants in my property, they're like, man, he got somebody over here quick to handle this situation. I've made it my best to take care of my tenants so much that I'm like, all right, I'll get somebody over here. They're like, whoa, calm. It's not that serious, Simon. They'll tell me to slow down and they can deal with it. Okay, I'll just wait till Saturday when I'm off. And so I've built such a trusted relationship with tenants that they're like, look, I don't even have to be here, Simon. You got the key. I know how you are. You're not going to let anybody in my house, a stranger in my house. A lot of times, if I have someone come fix something at a house, I'll stay there with that expert, that person, and make sure they take care of everything from A to Z. And then I'll leave and close out, lock the door. So I built such a relationship with certain tenants that it's that much trust. Same thing with the person who handles the situation. As an entrepreneurship, embrace relationships. Listen to me. I can't stress enough. Entrepreneur mentality, don't just break relationships for no reason. Don't just argue, disagree, and disconnect with people for no reason. It's a small world. You never know. You're going to have to come back around. You're going to need that person. They're going to know somebody that you know. It all works together. So my people that have helped me, I will leave tips. I've had a plumber say, you know what, Simon, I didn't even have to do much. It didn't even take that much. And it might be something that I knew that I could fix, but I wasn't going to be able to get over there till tomorrow. But I knew they would get there the same day. If they did that and they said, $80, I might pay them $90, $95. I'm going to put something extra on there. Now, what does that do? Next time I call them and I need help, they come quick. Boom. They're going to be there. They're going to send someone out. And it's pretty cool. As you grow your business with experts and people to help you, their business grows too, because then you start referring them to other people. I know one AC guy that I've started and worked with him when it was just him and he was starting off on his own. And I would call him, hey, Cody, need some help, boom, boom, boom. I had his direct number. And then as Cody grew, he had a company number. So he didn't use his direct number anymore. He had a company number. And so I didn't even realize how quickly his business was growing. He had other employees working for him. So he had a staff. Eventually he had a staff, and I was talking to him, kind of giving him game about his business and and tax write-offs and benefits and things like that. And so, oh my goodness, let's look who we have in the building. We got one of my favorite Mount Zion people in the building, Miss Vicky Floyd in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We're blessed already. This whole, listen, if you did not know it, like this whole, everybody tune in right now. You're just blessed right now just by her presence. Vicky Floyd is in the building. So we are blessed on this morning. So anyway, his business began to grow so much that he had to get employees because Cody couldn't make it to the different places anymore. But even though he couldn't make it to the different places, he would still show a little favoritism to me. And he was like, Simon, I don't mind you call my number. Just letting you know I do have this. And so sometimes I'll call the main number if I need to and go through the proper protocol. But if I wanted to call his private number, I still could. He wouldn't mind at all. But I respect his business growing, right? And so if you truly respect someone and how their business is growing, if they say, don't call my direct line, go here and schedule an appointment the proper way or through this channel, they've built that protocol and those channels for a reason so that their business can function and flow properly. And so you have to respect the growth of an entrepreneur, no matter if you all started off in the same spot and I knew you since you were 12 years old. How you going to tell me to go to this? Just follow protocol and learn how to implement some of that into your own business. Anyway, I spent a lot of time on that. We're almost coming close to a close. So understand that it may cause for time. You may have to do last minute adjustments. Number one, are you motivated? Are you self-motivated? 2, are you intimidated by competition? Or does competition scare you as an entrepreneur? Number 3, how do you handle what ifs in business when it happens? Are you pessimistic or are you optimistic? 4, does everything have to be perfect? Does everything have to be perfect for you to move and take action? 5, how do you handle stress, pressure, risk, the anxiety of doing business? And I skipped over 1, but yeah, you don't have to be number 1. You don't have to be the best. Know your role and be good at your role because you're still going to get paid. Are you comfortable? I think we're on 7. Are you comfortable with everything falling on you? Are you comfortable with being the man, the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan, the Kobe, the Brett Favre, the Tom Brady, the Serena Williams? Let me throw some women in there as well. The Sha'Carri Richardson. Are you comfortable with being the number 1 with everything falling on you? Can you handle that pressure and embrace the fact that the company needs you to push forward? Are you willing to give up time? Are you willing to make last minute adjustments? Next, does disbelief immobilize you? Does disbelief handcuff you and refrain you from pushing and moving forward? When you get ready to come up with a great genius idea and say, you know what? I figured it out. I'm on to something here. I believe I can do this. When you tell other people and they say, I don't know if you want to do that because A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't know if y'all ever get to G, but I've gotten to G with some people. They'll go through the alphabet to tell me why it doesn't make sense, why I shouldn't do it. And somewhere in my brain, it motivates me even more. I like it only because what they're throwing at me, it gives me feedback. You have to know as an entrepreneur with the right mentality, how to use feedback. It's like when somebody's telling you the pros and cons or being an advocate to try to have you look at it in a different angle, embrace that because it's going to give you the answers you need. Okay, well, if that happens, this is my option. If this happens, then I'm going to go that route. I've already created a plan. And that's why I said, how many chess players do I have out here as well? What chess move do you have in place to deal with that thing that might happen? So does disbelief immobilize you physically and mentally from accomplishing your goal? And so this helps you decide if you have an entrepreneur's mentality or not. Do negative words, thoughts, or opinions stop you from having success, going to make the money, or going to get the bag? You know, and here's a quick disclosure. Knowing what I know concerning taxes, what Uncle Sam wants from me, and certain tax laws that are in place, tax benefits that are in place, it is mission impossible with trying to tell me not to be an entrepreneur, with trying to tell me not to create a small business. This is going to sound crazy. Whether the business succeeds or fails, I'm going to always have some type of business going. Now, one of the young men that I used to work with in high school, and he went to Bradwell, he wrote a book, and it's Dejan Tanay, and it says benefits of starting a small business. Gain access to business funding and build credit stability. One of the things that he has in here about building a business, and you have to understand that, well, not one, there's a lot of good things that he talks about in here about business, but there's a lot of tax breaks. There's a lot of tax benefits to having a business that you can write off. So even if your business is failing and not having success, you can still write off all of those expenses, all those negatives, potentially against your capital gains, against your income that you made. And so I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax professional. Always get with your tax professional and verify and make sure that that information is beneficial for you. Always do your own research and verify that information for yourself. But my point is, I'm always going to do a business because there's too many tax benefits. And so with those tax benefits, whether the business is doing well or failing, I'm still winning. Because if I write that stuff off, then that's less money that Uncle Sam can tax me on the money that I did make. Anyway, so one of the last things, second to last things we're going to deal with also is get mentorship, get help. Don't be intimidated by it. Don't be too big-headed and to the point where you know everything to where nobody can help you. Get mentorship, get guidance, get help. Don't be afraid to hire somebody. Don't be afraid to go get a peer, big brother, big sister, who name it. Somebody who, I just told you all, I'm not trying to fix an AC unit. I'm not trying to fix all the plumbing issues. Some of the stuff I could have fixed. I just didn't want to. I went and got help. I went and got an expert. Go get someone who's certified who can help you advance your business. If it's going to take you 5 months to build your website, but what if somebody can build it in 2 days? And in 2 days, they have the website built. Now you have your t-shirts and everything else up there, all your products. Boom, now you're cash flowing because people have somewhere to go. Why waste those 5 months when you could have been making profit for at least 4.5 months? Get mentorship, get guidance, get help, get certification. So get an expert to assist you. So that's one of the other points when you have an entrepreneur's mentality. You're not going to drag your feet. You're not going to waste time, but you're going to do certain things to expedite and speed up the process for you to be cash flow. Last thing. So many of y'all made it all the way to the end. We've been on for about an hour and almost 20 minutes. We're almost at the last thing. And I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in as we get to this last point of an entrepreneur's mentality. Of course, if you are on Facebook, thank you for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. I want you to make sure that you go to my YouTube channel. When we get off of this and you see it down there in the ticker, subscribe YouTube at Coach Steele Finance. My YouTube channel is Coach Steele's Finance Training. Coach Steele's Finance Training. So I want you to go to YouTube and subscribe to Coach Steele's Finance Training. We are growing a community of people. Every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, we are going to huddle up as a team, as a community, and we're going to talk about financial literacy. We're going to grow together. And Gypsy Tart is in the building. Let's go. I was just thinking about Gypsy yesterday. Anyway, Gypsy Tart is in the building. We're going to grow together as a community. Good morning to you, Gypsy. Thank you for tuning in. And as we go to grow together as a community, we're going to break so many molds and things that society and statistics have said happen in certain communities. One thing that I want to shatter is where society says, and the statistics say, that women are least likely prepared for retirement. Women are least likely this, that, and the other when it comes to finances. We are going to change that because I'm tired of that. It makes no sense for women to be so hardworking but have the least to show for it. That happens for a number of reasons. I did a video for that. I'm not going to harp on it today, but that's one of my pet peeves, seeing that women are least likely prepared for A, B, C, D when it comes to finances. We're going to fix that. So continue to be a part of this community as we educate and get the knowledge and growth. Last point about entrepreneurs' mentality: budget and handling business money. Ooh, this is big. Usually they say it takes potentially 3 to 5 years for a business to grow and to flourish and have success. Usually they say most businesses fail within the first 3 years. Why is this? Well, one of the reasons I believe this happens is the management of funds, handling business money, handling business funds. One thing that Dejan says in his books, I wish Dejan was on. I would have him come here and give y'all some free game. One day, I'm going to get Dejan to jump in here and give some game about business information to help everybody. But a few things, I'll tell y'all a few things his book says. Have a business plan. Choose the best name for your business. Choose the best location for your business. Conduct marketing research. Funding your business. And this is some of the main points that I'm getting to. Funding your business, building your business credit, and have a business bank account. That's one of the things, and there's some more things on here that he has in here when it comes to getting an employer identification number, all of that, have a payroll system. But one thing I want to talk about, something simple, because Dejan is the expert on that. I just want to tell you this. Let me calm down. Breathe. Get a business account. Oh, I see my people from Cameroon are tuned in. So everyone, my people from Cameroon, good morning to you as well. I see you're tuned in to the live. Yes, Coach Steele's finance training is global, in case you didn't know. So you're part of a global movement. We got things moving and shaking. Stay tuned. That's what I'm telling you, subscribe. You never know what may happen next. So anyway, get a business account. You have your personal finances, you have your personal checking account, savings account. That's cool. But whenever you're starting a business, I don't care if you have an LLC, I don't care if it's a sole proprietorship, if it doesn't even have a name yet, get a business account. Get that business a name. If you can, get it registered, but get a separate account. If it doesn't have a name, if you don't have an LLC yet, it's still in its infancy stages, it's still in its beta stages, go open up another checking account. That way you don't mix funds, you don't mix money. You got business money over here, personal money over here. And come tax time, it is so much easier because you have QuickBooks and all this other stuff. I'm not saying that you have to be proficient in QuickBooks yet, but if you have the right tax advisors and staff and people in place, they can manage a lot of that for you. And they might do it for a low price. They might do it for $20, $30 a month or something like that, depending on the complexity of it. But anyway, what do I know? So what I'm telling you is get a separate account. And when you get a separate account, it's going to allow you to keep up and manage funds. Become tax time, you'll be able to distinguish the actions and things that happen, and you'll be able to manage your taxes better as well. But separate, you know how they say separate church and state? Separate personal funds and business funds. Separate personal funds and your entrepreneurship funds and investments. That way you can see how much you have going out and coming in. A lot of people don't want to separate the funds for a certain reason. Some people don't want to separate funds because they have to deal with reality. They have to deal with, am I cash flowing or not? Is this business making a profit or am I taking a loss? You have to deal with it. And there's nothing wrong with figuring that out. There's nothing wrong with finding out whether or not you're taking a profit or loss. It's actually a good thing. Because let's say you're taking a loss. Check this out. Once again, here goes one of the points, the what ifs. Being optimistic or being pessimistic. What if you're taking a loss? You get to evaluate what you're doing. I feel like I'm yelling again. Let me calm down. You get to evaluate what you're doing. And when you evaluate what you're doing, you can find out what you're doing right, and you can find out what you're doing wrong. And when you find that out, it allows you to make adjustments. So guess what? You might not be taking as much of a loss again. You might be able to improve. Good morning, Rhonda, Walter. Happy to have you in the building. We're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about having an entrepreneur's mindset. And so what action does it take? What mentality do you have to have? What adjustments do you need to make? We're over here on our last point. And our last point is budgeting and handling money and being able to separate those accounts, business from personal, personal from business. Separate them. And when you can see if it's not profitable, don't be pessimistic. Be optimistic. Well, I'm tearing these words up. I'm on a roll. So anyway, when it comes to that, look at the situation and say, what is it that I'm possibly doing wrong? What can I do better? And for some people, you might be taking a loss in the beginning only because you just started. Like, for example, my sister makes these candles. I got all of these candles over here, right? And the list goes on over and over and over. So that's a lot of fronting. You have to front. Before she sells any candle, she has to buy all of these products. And so she has to buy those products first, right? You ain't sold any. You got to do some experimenting. You got to do some science. You got to get in the lab. You got to do all of this stuff, and you haven't sold one thing. So in the beginning, it looks like you're in the negative. But once you figure it out, once you got everything that you need together, now, boom, they're selling. Boom, they're selling. You're making money. So you go from negative to positive. You go from red to green. So be patient in your business, but separate it and have the right funding in place. Put the right financial situation in place. I gave y'all the example earlier. Whenever I make money from my business, I don't just grab it and spend it. I set it to the side for a rainy day. I got 2 tenants that just moved out at the end of July. It's the 1st of August, and the mortgage companies for those properties are knocking on my door saying, hey, you still got to pay us. Tenant or not, I need my money. So guess what? I got to have money to pay them. But it also goes back to doing good business and being strategic. Knowing those things will happen. So you have to know how to budget and handle money properly. And you have to do the right math. And if you don't know the right math, get with a professional. Get with somebody that can help you and show you what are you looking for. What is your potential return on investment, your ROI? You know, I'm always staying with a calculator and something to write with and a piece of paper so I can do some quick math. You got a calculator on your phone. It's no excuse. Know your numbers on your business so that you can have financial success as an entrepreneur. And so we made it through a lot on this morning. That was a whole lot. So I'm proud of you all. You should give yourself a hand clap for making through all of these points. An EM, entrepreneur's mentality. Do you have it? We dealt with, are you motivated? Are you intimidated by competition? How do you handle the what ifs? Are you optimistic or pessimistic? Does everything have to be perfect? How do you handle stress, pressure, risk, and anxiety? Are you getting mentorship, help, guidance from people that are experts that can help you push your business forward? Know what you're good at, play your role, because everybody who plays their role still gets paid. Are you comfortable with everything falling on your shoulders, being the man, being the woman to make it happen, to make it shake? Are you willing to give up your time and be able to operate and function at the last minute scenarios? It may cause you to step away. And I'll use another example of that another day. I'm already past time. But I had to make something shake and do some last minute to make some bread for my family, but I did it. And does disbelief immobilize you? Does the negative or the unbelief from other people hinder you from being able to move forward as an entrepreneur and also being able to budget and handle your business and your money and being able to separate personal from business, finances, and being able to figure out what your return on investment is and what your financial goals are? So anyway, appreciate everybody for tuning in on this morning. I enjoyed it. I'm tired. Feel like I'm out of breath. So anyway, continue to like, subscribe, comment, and remember 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone every Saturday morning. we're going to lock in and talk about financial literacy. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training on YouTube, if you subscribe there, let's say you like gardening. I have gardening content, gardening videos in there about me growing my own vegetables in my garden. And then I have tons of videos about financial literacy, subject matter, whether it's investing, whether it's budgeting, whether it's real estate, dividend stocks, all type of good videos, content that come out every single week. Continue to stay tuned in. If you're an entrepreneur and you have a good business, tap in with me, shoot me a message. Maybe we can connect and do some type of interview to promote your business if it makes sense. This is Coach Steele, the financial voice of the people, tuning out. Appreciate everyone. Be blessed.